Hey, how's it going, everybody? We are going to be ranking the champions of 2025. It is time for me to start my ranking series as I do every June, every December. The top tens. We're gonna rank the heck out of stuff for the rest of the year. I think you're gonna be really entertained, have a lot of fun, and enjoy it. And I thought, what better way than to bring on two of the Illuminati, two of the most high skilled, knowledgeable players, literally in the game, and that is not over exaggerating, none other than Cant0na and Grass. Fellas, thank you so much for being here. If you guys,
Nice to be here.
You having me?
yeah, and if you guys could, as you guys know, me and technology not always get along, mainly because I was born way before technology was invented. And so, if you could introduce yourselves, maybe list a little bit about it, maybe talk about something you're doing on your channel this year, this December, something exciting, and it'll also be a way for us to ensure that everyone can hear you. We'll start off with Cant0na.
Okay. Hello, people. You probably know me from the Brawl if you've seen this face before, but I'm Cant0na, and pretty much I just play a lot of BGs. The whole of December, I'm going to be streaming for the majority of it. Christmas is a pretty small event for my family, so there'll be a lot of Battleground streams and getting annoyed at the silly matters that they bring out.
What's up? I'm Gress. I'll have been doing YouTube for 4 years come end of December. And yeah, I'm trying to put out a lot of content now with winter break for campus, which is nice. And probably try to do a bunch of Ultimate Champion showcases later on in this month. So looking forward to getting those done. Hope you guys enjoy them if you want to check it out.
I love that. And just so you guys know, I'm sure you're familiar with both their channels, but in case you're not, they both have, I think, a great reputation for, yes, covering the meta, like, I do with the tier list and all that stuff. But Grass was one of the first YouTubers to really start saying, like, hold on a second, the maker's actually very good. Like, really, really, really good. And no, not just like in War or just in Battlegrounds, but like in the whole game. And then Cant0na has been continuing on with that. One of the most impressive basically showcases and a lot of how to play too, actually, was on Sunspot. And I really love the way you formatted that whole thing. So it's not just the meta that's going to be covered today. I think you're going to learn a lot about uses for a variety of these champions. Like, I'm loving seeing people be like, hey, you know what? Turns out Mr. Knight and Lizard don't suck. And so that's going to be one of the many goals today. Fellas, what I'd like to start off with today, because we have a lot to cover, there's a lot of champions. We're only going to cover the new champions for this one. Do you have a champion that you're like, this is definitely the best, or this is definitely the worst? Because that could help us then start formatting and filling in the tier list. Well, we can
Ooh.
start off with Grass.
Okay. It depends on like the ranking criteria. Like when I did this a couple days ago, I ranked them based off of like how important they are for an account to have.
Yeah.
And when doing it, there was like only one champ in the game that's like this champ is completely irreplaceable. You like have to rank them if you have them if you want to be like extremely competitive, or you just really don't want to. Like the only irreplaceable champion for this year for me was Nico Minoru. And so she would be objectively my number one.
Interesting. There was two that was fighting it for me and was very close, with Spider Woman and Okoye, but I think I'm leaning Spider Woman. Nico is very high for me. I'm not saying Nico's bad. She probably would be number three for me, but I think Spider Woman specifically, even with the nerf coming up with quotation marks, like her matchup range is absolutely nuts, and even still on defense, there is like 3 or 4 hard counters, and everyone else can go very badly wrong.
This is actually making me realize I should ask you a little bit about how will you be formatting this? Like Grass talked about like value. And is there a particular mode that's going to be weighted a little bit heavier than others, like war, story content, long form, battlegrounds, of course, is I think a place where often like specific counters and champions are needed. And so I think that'll also be helpful in letting people know where you're kind of coming from on this as you suggest things. Let's go ahead and start with Cant0na for that.
I think I'm gonna weight War and BGs high, just the two main competitive modes. Obviously, that doesn't mean the other modes are gonna
Mhm.
disappear, but I think the two competitive like repeating modes as well, because like quite a lot of content is a one and done, but War and BGs repeating modes, so the best long value.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's pretty similar. The big thing with me is like how important they are for you to have. Like, if you own this champ, like, what should you rank first? Like, for what they bring to the table, how important is it for that to fill a gap in your BG's deck or your Alliance War roster and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And again, War and BGs are going to be the primary focus for me. There are other modes that I definitely care about, such as like endgame content and questing and stuff, but for competitive specifically, I think it's going to be BGs and War that are above everything else.
That makes a lot of sense. I think people are used to my channel, are familiar with me weighting things in a similar way, and then also keeping an eye on story content as well too. The thing is, typically champions who are great in battlegrounds or war have a lot of versatility towards story or EOP or those sorts of things. I also want to take a second. Usually, I really respond and interact with the chat. This is going to be a bit more of a podcast style, but hello, thank you everyone for being here. I see all like the channel members like Dre Day. What's up, buddy? Thanks for being here, guys. We will at some point, take questions or things like that, I think, but we're going to be focused a bit more on getting the ranking in. And already, just already, you guys should know the crowd is strongly on Paviter's side. They're like, did you forget about him? And I want to ask, and I think that's important too, because as I go through my top tens, I've already started working on them. I've already started on the Mystic list, of course, and then just in general, the top 30. I'm truly struggling. For me, is it Paviter or is it Nico at number one? Did you guys consider him at all? Is he too new? Or are you like, yeah, I considered him, I played him. I don't think he's in Nico's tier just yet. Let's go ahead and start with Cant0na.
Well, this is the one I said that was probably going to be my one hot take. I don't like Pavita. Um, he is very good. That is, I can't say anything about that, but I personally do not like him. I don't usually like the champs that work around like traps, certain parts
Okay.
on the map. I do like that they put a trap in the corner so you can play aggressive with him, but I think with how many mystic attackers there are, a bit like what Grass said, I think if you don't rank Pavita, you can very easily get away with it with all the other champs that exist for mystic specifically.
Yeah, for me, Paviter is still probably top five, maybe just right outside the top five for me. I still think he's very important to have, just because of the wide range of cosmics he has the capability of taking. He just doesn't take them as effectively as Nico does, and he's not as strong defensively as Nico is, in my opinion. I do prefer Paviter for like matchups outside of the cosmic class for Nico, but then Nico just kind of says no to buffs in general, which is ridiculous. So there's plenty of like node sets like in Alliance War, they're all over the place where it's just like if you turn off the buffs, then boom, there's no threat to this node anymore. So I think Nico just brings too much value when it comes to that. But I still think Paviter is very strong and could be top five for this year.
Were you, Grass? I know you put out, and I actually really enjoyed it. I got a chance to watch it today. Your video on Imperiosa. Were you able to? Because there's some thought that Nico won't be able to take her, but as I was watching, I was like, I think she's just going to turn Imperiosa's buffs into passives, but the damage will still apply, and so Nico probably still going to be fine. Were you able to test that, or do you remember?
Nico would be fine. It's just you'd still have to like learn how to Dex Imperios' specials and like, or else you'll take block damage and stuff. Like, there's not much stopping a lot of Mystics from taking Imperiosa, but you also have to like be careful with a lot of them because that Pierce, that Fury, that's going to hit you very hard into the block still, even if it's as a passive.
That's right, and there is a cooldown on Nico's miss mechanic off the SP1, so it's not like she could just sit there and miss the whole time. Again, thank you everyone who's stopping, and I appreciate it. What's up, Kurt? How you guys doing? Okay, let's go ahead and start this then. I'm still kind of recovering from being sick, and appreciate people are wishing me well and saying I'm sounding a little better. I've already forgotten. Did you guys both say Nico should be one, or was that one person said Nico should be one and the other said no? Oh, Cant0na. I
Yeah,
apologize. Yeah.
I don't know about Nico one, but
Okay.
I definitely agree top three. So I wouldn't be mad if she is one, but that is not my personal number one.
And Grass, you had Nico at one as well, right?
I had Nico at one. I wouldn't mind her going down to like three or two, even. Like, I think it's so competitive this year that there are champs you could easily value over the rest.
Okay. And will
Yeah.
either of you be making videos on this? Like December is like people are inside more, they're visiting family who they love, they want to see them, but they also are more likely to be like, I need a 30-minute break. And so like just a cool ranking video usually does really well. Will either of you be doing your own ranking videos this December?
Yeah, I'll be doing one ranking the champs of this year later on in the year, probably close to the end of the month.
Yeah, I haven't really ever done much camp ranking in general, so maybe I'll look into it, but I'm not sure. Maybe towards, yeah, like the end of the year, but
I
when we have a bit of time to see Imperiosa.
I really encourage you. Nothing brings the community together more than a rankings tier list. Everyone just comes in, they're very polite about it, they're respectful of your opinions, and they're just very like, hey, thanks for doing this. I think you did perfectly. So I suggest you go ahead and do that. I'm totally being sarcastic. Okay, let's go ahead and start off with this. I don't want to do like a Cant0na list and a grass list because especially because you guys might make your own, and I am aware that things can move around. Yeah, I think we'll let the chat decide on the number one. So, Cant0na, if you had to say number one, this is my number one, and then we'll let the chat pick between the two, who would be your number one?
I think I would go with Spider-Woman overall.
Okay. And Grass, again, just confirm for me, please, who yours would be.
Yeah, my number one's Nico.
Okay.
And just to say it anyway, the only reason I'm not picking Spider-Woman is because I think there are like she does have like the craziest matchup spread we've almost ever seen. But like for what you need a science champ to do on your roster, I think there are other science champs who are also going to help a lot with that.
I think this is kind of like indicative of the game right now, though, and the whole year's class. And I think you guys are really doing a great job of explaining it. I still truly don't. You guys know I take my tier list and all this stuff very, very seriously. And I started weeks ago. I don't know who to pick between Pavita and Nico for the best Mystic. If you go from like a value statement, right, or formatting Pavita with the ability to be ascendable immediately, but we don't know how powerful it's going to be. There's so much we don't know, right? We know what Nico does right now. However, literally today, live, I saw Ham live stream take a rank 4, I believe it had to have been a rank 4 Sinister with his Pavita Pravarker and got over a 50k score.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
anything in this meta that's enhancing Pavita? Like, or is that just like, no, that's just kind of how that's going to work?
I'm pretty sure
But-
that's pretty consistent for him.
Yeah, it's a very minimal difference. There's prowess running around, but he has so many buffs on the opponent that it's nothing really
I mean, Ham's a great
of a
player,
difference.
right? Like, Ham's a great player. And so I think that's important to keep in mind. But it looked to me like he was basically playing Archangel. He parried, he heavied, he then repeated that a lot. I think he threw one SP1, so I guess it got a little more advanced in Archangel. He threw one SP1, and then you could hear him. He was talking the fight through, and he's like, "I think it's time to end it." And he threw an SP2, and Sinister was just gone. So I don't have hands-on experience with Pavita. Is Pavita a difficult to play champion, and Ham just made it look easy, or is it more the moderate to easy to play? We'll start with Grass.
It took me a while in testing him to like understand the playstyle, especially like the playstyle where you just don't let them drop special attacks. So I'd say it took me about an hour to fully grasp how to do him pretty well, but it made sense once you got used to it, and you'll find the rotations pretty much the same no matter what defender you take. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more people being able to play him because I think if you got the double track, you should have access to him like tomorrow or Thursday. So
Yeah, the thing I do like about Pavita, well, I like and dislike it. At equal ranks, his the rotation kills pretty much anything in battlegrounds, like that health increase
Yeah.
at equal ranks, which obviously is very good because it's one of the main modes. But at the same time, after one rotation, having to start over again is kind of a bit. I don't know. There's nothing really. I don't think it's too difficult to play him. It just there's like lulls and massive damage boosts with him, which some people might not like.
Okay. We're gonna let the poll go for just another minute or two. I don't want to influence the voting here. No early analysis. Let's let the people vote. I will say that people are commenting a lot. Cant0na, it's getting a little weird in the chat. You can check it out if you want, but the chat seems to really like you. What's up, Kurt? How you doing, man? Suro, thanks for being here. PP9, what's up, buddy? So quick question though, and Faith and YouTube user, how y'all doing? Is we do have a question here from channel member asking, does Paviter need to be awakened? I remember on my initial review, I felt like the initial awakened ability was really helpful. I think it had to do with the Mark passive, right? And it looked like one of those champions where the escalating sig will increase your damage. Is that accurate? Or if not, please let me know. And either one jump in.
I'm quickly reminding myself what it does. One sec.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
Especially with the marked, it's obviously for some champs useless, but for your Serp and your Dark Phoenix, it's obviously very nice. It's it depends what matchup you want to take him for, right? If you want to do Serpent and Dark Phoenix, which I'm hoping you do with Pavita, then yes, you want him awakened.
Yeah, and I think he's kind of a Sig one and done champ. Like the scaling effect, he has got two scaling effects. One is the duration reduction of inexorable and unstoppable effects, which you can usually deal with no problem, like for Serpent and Dark Phoenix still. But like the Sig 1 benefit is just the marked getting extra potency, which is like the big thing that you want this Sig for. So you could get away with not giving them Sig stones, but I think awakening him is something that's very important.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna call the poll. And Spider Woman takes it. That's cool. I mean, she takes it strongly, 64 to 36%. So I think we'll go with Spider Woman. Now, here is the question: does that mean Nico is automatically number 2, or does either of you want to suggest another champion to put up against Nico for the second spot?
No, I do. I'm gonna self-inflict drop a Koye to minimum thirds. Nico offers a bit more with the defensive threat.
Grass, I assume you're okay with that.
With Nico at 2, yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, because you had her at 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys are like, how well is he not feeling? I did take a bunch of cold remedies right before this. What's wild right now, and I think this has to be said, is you just brought up Okoye. I totally forgot. Like, we didn't even talk about her as possibly the number 1. We still have Peter Pavarkar, and someone just brought up Jean Grey, who I think is potentially the best mutant in the game. This year has been insane. Like, just absolutely wild. Yeah, and Bastion, I know. I'm angry that they didn't make Bastion number 1, but when you have guests on, you need to be nice to them. All right, so moving on to the number 3 spot is let's go ahead and start with Cant0na. As you look at who's still available, who would you we've got Nico off and we've got Spider Woman off. Who would you suggest for the third spot?
My mind, based on another ridiculous matchup spread. I know that the hit back at this from some will probably has no defensive value, but I think Okoye's matchup spread is absolutely broken. There's a reason HeatlyBros is one of the worst things possibly ever released, and seeing as she's keeping it, it makes her matchup spread just too dumb sometimes. And that Sig as well, that Sig adding shock for deep wounds. I mean, obviously you need to run deep wounds, but most people should be running it, and that damage goes absolutely crazy.
And Grass, who is your suggestion for the third spot?
This is interesting because there's a different skill champ released this year that I value slightly higher than Okoye. Which his name is Mr. Knight. No, I'm just kidding. It's Lumitrix.
Oh, Lumitrix.
Lumitrix is my number 3.
I actually had to think that. I was like, wait, what?
It's Lumitrix. That's my number 3. Personally.
Okay.
When it comes to war value, I think Lumitrix has it. Two-way potential, I think Lumitrix has it. The only advantage that I think Okoye has, and this is probably a very hot take, over Lumitrix is the Spider-Woman matchup and just being a nuke. Like, she objectively has higher damage than him and can kill things faster than him. But I still think he takes as many matchups as she does outside like Spider-Woman, and is a much better war attacker in my opinion.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and embarrass myself. It's something I like to do at least once or twice a day. Usually I like to wait till my family is around, but they're not. So I'm going to let you guys do it. Is as someone who really loves playing Lumitrix, but I cannot, and I have the poll up right now. I'm letting everyone vote for who's going to take the third spot. Is I trying to master Lumitrix. I am enjoying that challenge, and he's good enough where he helps me win a lot of fights, even though I make a mistake here and there. Is the matchup versus Photon. I cannot come up with a consistent way to do it. I feel like I should be holding heavy. Photon should dive in. However, aren't her mediums not supposed to miss? But
Correct.
I feel like often she still gets like the stun, and even if she is in pure light form, it still often works, but sometimes it doesn't. And I have not been able to like understand why. In fact, again, I happened to be watching Ham stream this morning while I was getting some work done. He seemed to have a similar issue. Is there something I'm doing wrong, or is there something on that matchup that you guys know about that like you could explain might be happening, or what I'm doing incorrectly?
Yeah, so before you get the invisibility up, when you charge your heavy, you're doing an evade, which isn't something that Photon can stop. So if like she does a medium attack, you can evade it, right? And then you're going to place the stun. What you're not able to do is obviously make Photon miss with her medium or just any hit in pure light form. So what I like to do for that matchup is do the evade into a heavy attack, which is going to end my invisibility and keep it off of cooldown so I can get it right back. And she's not going to have the opportunity to fail my miss, because if I'm just doing evade into heavy attack all the way up to 2 bars, then she's barely placing any debuffs on me either, because the heavy attack is just placing 1 debuff on me at a time, so she gets in pure light a lot slower too. So that's just the way I like to do the matchup, is literally just evade into heavy attack until special 2, and then she won't live too much longer afterwards.
So he's not causing a miss. He's causing an evade that triggers an invisibility.
Correct.
That solves the problem. Okay, that makes tons of sense. And I'm sure, again, I having watched him, I'm sure it was something else. He's obviously a very smart player. Let's give this vote a few more seconds, but it again is carried away. And here's what's interesting is I made an assumption earlier in the year that the idols had not done terribly well as far as like a sales standpoint, because I've tried covering them on YouTube and viewers seem very uninterested in it. Like, you guys do YouTube, the stat, you get all the stats and all that stuff. And so I kind of made the assumption that maybe the idols had not performed well for Kabam. I have received information that I think it's okay for me to share, that the idols actually did do pretty well. I was told, someone was watching that and they're like, hey, one thing you got wrong, I think you might be interested in knowing this, is the idols actually did pretty well. So you guys can't see the poll, I'm sure, but Okoye is winning this just about the same ratio as the last poll, so it's pretty strong. I think this has to do with the dominance and the relative ease of play of Okoye, and I do think Luma is like a little bit more like high skill, I think, or takes a little bit more. Would you guys agree with that, even with the multi hits of Okoye?
Yeah, I'd say that's
even
definitely
though,
the case.
oh, go on, you go first.
Yeah, I'd say that's
I was
definitely the
just
case. And oh,
let's go.
okay,
Let's
you
go.
go this time. You go this time.
Let's go Cant0na first.
I think even though I was the one who said Okoye, I do also think Luma is criminally underrated. Mostly, and I think even though you said the stats apparently show that the idols did quite well, I still don't think Luma is ranked up nearly as much as he should be. I think this war tactic has helped him out a lot, but I still think he is quite underrated overall.
I'm gonna just stop in because we're gonna stop the poll and we'll move to number 4 real quick though, just to give you an idea of what other folks thinks. And I do believe this is the real Barrow Man. And this is a fair point. Luma is cool, but he does not take almost any of the meta defenders in BGs, while Koya takes not only Science, but Elena, Dark Phoenix, Nick Fury, etc. Could go on. And I also think that is a little bit like I was watching, I think it was Traps top defenders video. Again, I enjoy those sorts of videos quite a bit. And he was even talking about like how Photon at the tier you guys play, not as much of a threat. You move down to Quantum and like lower Mysterium where I play, Photon's crushing people still. And I think that just like changes that sort of thing up quite a bit as far as like who feels like the meta defenders, right? And then Na is saying Okoye is probably the generalist of the year. So I think that tracks. That makes sense. Let me go ahead and put Okoye in at the 3 spot. And I'm just gonna take it now to let you guys all know that this list is already wrong. It's already really, really wrong. But that's fine. We'll move forward. We'll move forward with it. And and we'll have to go to the suggestion for number 4. And with the way the poll just went, the voting on the oh no, what did I do? Oh good. Woo, we're back. The way the poll Okoye is falling off. Kaus is right. Okoye, she ain't what she used to be, man. Yeah, hey, time moves fast. Things move fast in this game. Who's your suggestion for number 4? Your vote, your candidate for number 4. We'll start off with Cant0na.
Now I'm assuming Grasses is going to be Lumatrix again, but I'm not gonna agree this time like I did with the Nico. I think for me, it's got to be Jean. I think Jean is getting better and better over time, similar to Lumatrix as well. But Jean is another one who, I mean, I really value crazy versatility, and Jean feels like she's getting a new matchup every day at this point. It's a bit silly, but yeah, I think Jean has to be up there.
I'm actually gonna say Jean should be 4. I don't think Luma and Okoye should be back to back because they are very, very different skill champs. So I think Jean makes a lot of sense at 4 at this point.
I think as people have gotten her sig going, the non-believers are more like, oh, okay, I get it now. You know, like I remember being very high on Jean initially, and then there's like, well, this isn't happening this time. And then as my Jean sig grew, it was just like undeniable. This is an absolute monster. And Cant0na, I think to kind of do what you were saying is like those people who are really trying to play like again, it's tier 3, it's not tier 1. Like I think everyone knows, but these guys are in 2 of the best war alliances in the world as well too. So I'm in tier 3, but it's still competitive. Like they're real nodes and defenders. I'm taking hazard shift with her. Would you guys do that in tier 1? You guys ever be like, we want to path a Jean, we can send her through, it's not going to be pretty, it's not a full health bar often, especially if she gets a poison on her, right? Because I think that delays the shield coming back. But that shield takes so much damage. At tier 1, though, are the debuffs too strong and the shield won't hold up?
Uh, it's not something that usually happens in war, and we did just go through a Mr. Sinister whitelist, which might have something to do with it.
Yeah,
But even then,
yeah.
like, I don't think Jean would really go to hazard shift too much. There's not a lot of
Yeah,
skill to replace there.
I haven't sent it to Hazard Shift, but I have sent her a few times with the intention of the shield will eat most of the chip damage you take in this fight. So
Okay.
not Hazard Shift specifically, but the same idea.
I imagine,
Yeah.
especially at your tier, like you're not really bringing in too many synergies unless they're both like usable, or that one champ is like Omega Red, where you're like, okay, cool, just destroy the map. But she does have a really cool synergy with Phoenix that I think like I'm gonna bring it up for people here.
It makes the shield take incinerate damage.
Yeah, it does something.
Yeah.
Incinerate damage does not reduce the strength of Jean's force field. So
Yeah.
if I'm reading it correctly, like she's essentially immune to incinerate. Like she gets it, but she doesn't take damage. That's I would
Pretty much.
assume. I don't think the damage goes straight to Jean's health bar, is what I mean to be saying. And I think I saw Sammy in the audience. What's up, Sammy? Thanks for being here, man. All right. And Liam, I see Liam. Liam, if you have a vote for the next one, you throw it out there for us. We're now going to move on to the fourth spot, or no, wait, the fifth spot, right? Yep, the fifth. And let's go and start with Grass for your candidate for the fifth spot.
I guess Lumitrix at this point. My alternative would be Cant0na. I'm fine with either one. Honestly, whichever one Cant0na thinks between the two, or unless he has a different pick.
One of my picks was Cant0na. The other one is Solvark. But yeah, based on you also saying Cant0na, I probably would lean towards her.
Do you mind Cant0na? Because we'll just go with Cant0na. Do you mind giving everyone just a little spiel on her, why she's so great, like what your thoughts are there?
Yeah, I mean it's a few things. She has one main very easy source of damage, and her playstyle is pretty simple for the most part. There's a couple ways to refine it, but it's pretty much just build up to SB2s and blast them. I really like the glancing on block, especially because chip damage is such a big thing at the moment in BGs, especially. You know, so many matches are won by 1 or 2%. She can obviously be blocked if you're incinerate immune, but I think she has been a sneaky defender once or twice too as well, because she has good immunity herself. So I think just in general, a bit less than Okoye, but another generalist style champ.
You pretty much agree with that, Grass? Was there anything you would want to add?
Nope. I don't play a lot of Cant0na myself, but I fully understand how ridiculous she is. So Cant0na summed it up pretty well.
She is also, I think, almost impossible to separate from how fun she is to play. Like I could never pull. I couldn't awaken her on my 583 account. It just couldn't happen. I don't know why, but it just didn't. I mean, I know why, it's RNG. But it just never happened. And then I actually awakened her with a gem, threw it directly into her, took her directly to rank 4, and it was like she's as much fun as I thought, maybe even more. Like just outrageously fun to play, in my opinion. Like the challenge of following the sun around, it's just so absolutely cool. And then of course she's powerful, which helps out. The chat kind of reminded me, and I'm like, oh yeah, did either of you guys forget about Paviter Pravarkar? Because I know I did. If let's take a second here, as you look at the list, are you like, you know what, he should probably be higher up? And we'll start with Grass.
I think switching him out for Cant0na would be fine. I'd probably put him below Cant0na myself, and still below Lumitrix, which we haven't gotten to yet, but he'd be very soon after that.
Yeah, no, I haven't forgot about him.
Okay.
He is lower for me.
And I see a couple questions coming in, and I appreciate it, guys. We're not doing buff champions. It's just, it might have to be another stream. You know, this is, we got to get our episodes in. I'm just kidding. We just don't have the time to do them today. All right. So, I thought I saw something else in the chat. Yes, Solvark is an excellent. This kind of goes to my whole thing. What I was saying about, as someone who's covered the idols, and for me personally, they have not performed as well on YouTube. For my channel, it doesn't mean other people's channels they haven't. And so I made this assumption that they hadn't performed well, but I had someone who I very much trust, and they're knowledgeable. Of course, they know what they're talking about. Say like, actually, the idols have done pretty well. So, not everyone who plays the game watches YouTube. In fact, I think there's a lot of people who obviously don't. So. All right, let's go ahead and get on to the next here, which would be our number 6. The numbering system's off. I'll try to fix that while we talk about this. Who would you guys say is the number 6 champion? We'll start with Grass.
It's Lumitrix. I still put him up there instead of a Koye, but that's just me, and I know that's definitely a hot take for most people.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with my other one that House did say that I'm putting this low because I'm bad at him. True, I am bad with him, but that's not relevant. I'm putting Solvark at 6.
Well, so everyone's bad with Solbar. I am not convinced that there's a single person who truly knows how to use him. They know to throw their special ones and then try to race to their special 3. And if the opponent's health bar is low enough, they'll throw their special 2. But I don't think if there's a Solvark master out there, I would sign it. I would take your class. I would take your master class. So let's see here. We're on the number 6 champion. And we've got Luma versus Solvar. Let's go ahead and while the chat is voting to break this tie, let's go ahead and have you guys kind of defend your champion, or maybe just even explain like how they work or what they do. We'll start off with Grass.
Yeah, Luma has been almost like a crutch for me in both BGs and War for like the past 3 months now. He's the most auto-draftable skill champ for me in my deck. I take him to War all the time. He was probably my mostly used attacker last season. And I just think the strength in a champ that never needs buffs, never places debuffs, gets their openings without needing to parry or block at all. It's just so unbelievably strong for so many different node threats. On top of being bleed and rupture immune, almost getting rid of the entirety of a duration of a non-damaging debuff. Like there's just so much this champ does that translates so well against many different defenders and BGs and many different nodes on the war map. On top of the fact that his damage is absolutely cracked, once you get that 3-bar setup, he's going to be nuking everything. So that's just my favorite things about him. He's by far my favorite skill champ from this year, and one of my favorite champs to play in my roster.
It's sounding like Tilapia is a master. Is that Solvark or Liam? If you could finish that thought.
It's Solvark.
Solvark has Tilapia
Yeah,
put out a video?
Tilapia, I think he's planning to do one, and until then, he's being very cagey with the rotations, which I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
He's pretty much just buffing his chance of winning every BG's match by not telling people the rotations, so that's very fair.
Well, since I've got Grass on the call here, Grass, can you explain what this awakened ability does? Like,
Yeah.
And if you can't, that's fine. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that question today.
So the first line is there because of effects like Cassie's combo detonation and Quicksilver's whiplash, because those are debuffs that you are making shorter, with your endurance. So if you don't want the whiplash or the combo detonation to expire faster, right? So it's making you take less damage when that kind of thing happens. And then the second line, is similar. It like that also would work for Cassie's combo detonation, Quicksilver's whiplash and stuff, but it expands to like any form of burst damage, which can include like Void's intimidating presence damage that he does, which you would think is a damage over time. It's just a direct burst of damage that he does every half second, and that can even include like Jean Grey's special 2 burst damage. So like it makes them all have a chance to fail. Obviously, the highest chance would be 45% if you're not fighting a science champ. But if you're fighting a science champ, any instant burst of red that's like not coming from a damage over time effect, that's a 90% chance to fail. So it's very strong if you get him to Sig 200. Yeah.
Okay, but this would not. You explain that exceptionally well. This would not help you with high Evo's combo detonation, right? That's a passive and it's not instant.
The second line, yes, it would. The first line, it wouldn't because High Evos is a passive, but the second line, yeah, you could, in theory, make that fail if you have your Luma at a high enough Sig.
It would get up to 90%. So would you, if you don't know, that's totally fair. If you had this at 90%. Would that mean it'd be 90% for you to not get the combo detonation on you at all? Or when the combo detonation was down, which Luma's pretty good at not letting happen anyway, but let's say it did, it wouldn't trigger the damage? Is that the idea?
It would mean once that passive expires, the damage has a 90% chance to fail.
Oh, dude, that's pretty awesome. Because
they do not work for power stings, by the
Okay.
way. I just saw that in the chat.
I've been playing him completely unawakened, and I was like, I don't feel like I need it at all. So that's pretty cool. And then, okay, you know what? Cant0na, I'm sorry. I was going to give you some time to talk about Solvark, but the chat is
I'm not even going to try and find
okay.
one.
All right, because the chat is 80% Lumatrix here, so I think it'd have to be one hell of a speech to change
Yeah.
The change the chat's mind. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got our number 6, and then let's go ahead and move to Cant0na for our number 7 champion here.
Yeah, I'll just say Solvark again. I don't think there's anyone else in my mind above him out of the remaining champs.
All right, Grass, who are you feeling here?
This is interesting for me because I told you this, Vega. Like when I did this, when I made my own list with a friend of mine a couple days ago, we ranked the 3 tech attackers this year like back to back to back, like Maker, Bastion, and Solvark. And the reason we put those 3 immediately next to each other is because everything you would want a tech champ to do, all 3 of them do. And so like they all have specific advantages over each other. For instance, like Bastion is very strong for like Bullseye and a bunch of other different defenders. Like Solvark is just like the king of taking energy damage. Maker also is just an incredibly versatile matchup sheet. Some defenders that like Solvark and Bastion wouldn't be good for. They all have specific advantages over each other, and they all do everything you would want a tech champ to do. So it just made sense to put all 3 next to each other. If I was to pick the best of the 3, I also think it's Solvark, like Cant0na said. Mainly because he is the two-way of the bunch. Like Bastion and Maker aren't really doing much on defense. I think Solvark is just the king of taking energy damage, almost the king of Alliance War, and he does so much in BGs right now. But right after Solvark, I would put Bastion followed by Maker immediately after.
All right. I'm struggling to understand why Bastion isn't higher on this list, but you two are the guests, and so we'll go ahead and put Solvark, and let's move on to the number 8 Grass. Given all that, who is your suggestion for the number 8?
At this point, it feels like it's Paviter's time to get on. So, like, as much as I would put Bastion immediately after Solvark and then Maker immediately after Bastion, that's probably not how the chat's going to go. So, we'll go ahead and do Paviter.
Well, that's funny because I'm going to go with Bastion finally.
Yes.
I will humor Vega. I will humor it.
I absolutely love Bastion, so there's no hate. There's no hate.
It feels like hate. It might not.
I love all 3 of these tech champs almost equally, even though it doesn't seem like it.
Okay, you might have good intentions, but it feels hateful. I just want you to know. I'm going to put Bastion's name first to try to influence the vote here. And it was Bastion versus Paviter, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that Paviter was my suggestion.
All right. Let's go ahead and vote, guys. If you could kind of take over the stream. I apologize to everyone. I can see that I've gotten a couple alerts. I need to handle something at the door, but you got 2 great guys here, and I'm sure they can handle this while I'm gone.
Let me do that quick and then close the poll. The reason for me I put Solvark above Bastion, and it actually is going to get enhanced by, if anyone read the patch notes, Solvark's how he's meant to deal energy damage back to champs giving him energy damage. It actually isn't working against a certain few cases at the moment. But I don't know. I don't know why it specifically isn't working against some cases. But for example, the Okoye versus Solvark matchup that works for some horrendous reason is being quote unquote fixed next month. So Solvark should become a stronger defender than currently because Okoye will be gone. I don't know what the other examples are. I don't usually play against Solvark. I usually ban him, but yeah, that was my reasoning.
I just see a lot of people like surprised with how low some of these champs are. I just want to say that like when I did this list with my friend a couple days ago, we did a tier list, like S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. And quite literally, we had 11 of the 24 champs in S tier. Like there's just that many ridiculous champs this year. So like if they're already in S tier, it kind of makes sense. You could flip them in so many different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, the year for me has a very easy split. There is about 12 crazy champions, and then there is, I don't know how the exact number is, but there's like 11, 12 kind of underwhelming champions.
You guys just going over how crazy the year is. I just caught the tail in there about like how many um, great champions there's been, and the chat's obviously saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying, like, when I did this as a tier list a couple days ago, like 11 of the 24 champs were in the highest tier because, like, they're just that many strong champs this year, that many champs you could flip around with each other depending on what you value more.
Yeah. I completely agree. And this is interesting. Like, I appreciate you guys doing this. I think this is fun, and I appreciate the chat interacting. I can't say like, that's the fun thing about tier lists too, is you can't say like, no, you're wrong. I mean, you can say that if you want, but like, I think it's all about like how you're playing the game, the matchups you're taking, how it fits into your account, those sorts of things. I don't think my rankings are going to look like this. I just truly don't. And yet I don't like disagree with you. You guys obviously know a ton about the game. Here's a question I want to ask, because this vote's actually pretty close. So I want to let this vote go a few more minutes here, a couple minutes left. Is as we're going through this, like, we still don't have Paviter up there for sure. We still don't have Bastion up there. There are so many incredibly powerful champions. Okay. And one of the theories, let's call it, I have about what Kabam is going to do with Ascension is Ascension will be the new way of quote unquote balancing the game, particularly the competitive aspects of it. In other words, you know, let's use Serpent. It's just so easy. Everyone knows him. He's so easy to use, right? The poor guy. I'm actually starting to feel bad for Serpent a little bit, but it's like Serpent has a bunch of counters now, right? There's a lot of counters. It still takes a lot of time. Like no one's nuking him in 30 seconds or whatever. He's doing what he was supposed to do, that sort of stuff. Is like allow Serpent to go to Ascension level like 2, let's say, at some point, and then allow other champions to go to like 4. Now, the way Kabam's described Ascension, it sounds like that's actually not what they're doing. It sounds like a champion will be ascendable, and then just however many levels are available, you can take them. Do you guys have thoughts on that? And you like, I'm not going to hold you to it, but like predictions or how you think they might go about balancing those sorts of things out. We'll start with Cant0na, and then we'll go to Grass on that.
I'm not sure. The thing I have, and I mean another good example for me is Lizard. And it's to do with them probably staggering Ascension, like pools of ascendable champs over multiple years. You know, I don't think in any other year, Lizard would have been released and Scorpion released a month later if something like Ascension that you can gatekeep champs from existed. Because otherwise, there would be no point for Lizard to exist. I mean, sorry for anyone who loved Blizzard, but
Cant0na,
Scorpion has just a bit more.
I don't recall. I think you were interviewed. I think I saw an interview, and those of us who've been playing this game long enough were like, you must not have been here when Mysterio was released, and then Warlock was like literally the next month. Were you?
That is true. I was not around then. I don't know. Lizard especially, I think they will stagger Ascension pools over multiple years to quote unquote balance champions, because they'll all be able to get to the same level, like 11 or whatever it is, sure, but if you have Lizard being a Ascension level 5 when Scorpion eventually gets added, people will still choose Lizard for quite a long time until they gather enough resources for Scorpion to go up.
Grass, did you have any some quick thoughts on that? I know I didn't tell you guys I was going to ask you about that today.
Yeah, I really don't have that many thoughts. I haven't even thought about Ascension that much myself, mainly because I haven't even seen like what the resources look like in game, other than like what the stream highlights and stuff. So, I don't know. My mind hasn't really been on Ascension that much until I actually get resources for it myself.
I think that's probably the smart way. Kabam's been pretty transparent about what they do know, and they've been pretty transparent about like there's a lot we don't know yet. We're like figuring some stuff out. I'm hopeful that they go that route, but sometimes they figure out something even better than what I was hoping they would do. Sometimes it's not as good, and I think we're just gonna have to see what comes out and what they do with it and how they balance it. But I do think it sounds exciting. I think it's something to keep in mind. But I really feel strongly like don't let it guide your rank up decisions now. Like, I think this game is very much life service. It's about playing for the next day, week, month, or 2 months, and then you see what happens in a couple months. So, we do gotta pick up the pace a little bit. No, I've been chit-chatting. It looks like Bastion has won. I think I don't know, maybe Peter's not as dominant as I thought he was. And this could also be a little bit of like where we talked about value to an account. Everything I just said about Ascension, we know Pavita is supposed to be ascendable as soon as that happens. I think that provides a lot of value, but that's longer term, so a little bit different than what I was saying. Let's go ahead and Grass, who is your I wrote down the wrong name. I will fix it. I was talking about Pavita. Grass, who is your suggestion, your candidate for the number 9 spot?
Let's put Maker directly under him and make it perfection.
Okay.
But because I know Maker wouldn't win that against Paviter. Let's see, like Cant0na, are you saying Paviter?
Yeah, I was about to drop Pavita in.
Okay, I'd say Dark Phoenix then.
So number 9
Yeah,
is can you repeat that again for me? It's Dark Phoenix versus who?
I'm gonna go with Pavita, so Dark Phoenix versus Pavita.
Pavita destroys Dark Phoenix, yes?
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, let's see how this goes. How is, for those of you who have, I did not select Dark Phoenix. It is something that I have learned to regret. I've learned to regret it, especially as my viewers have been like, dude, you really should have selected her. But we move, we live, we move on. How is she offensively? Let's go ahead and start with Grass for this. Like, what do you enjoy taking with her? How is she offensively?
I like her a lot offensively. She was an attack tactic for War a couple seasons ago, and I played her a lot. She's really strong. One thing I really liked about her was the fact that her heavy attack and her special one are both one hit. So what I would do is like go to hazard shift lanes and literally just use heavies and special ones, and I'd barely get any debuffs on me because I'm barely hitting the opponent because she only has that one hit heavy and that one hit special one. But she also just does a crazy amount of damage in longer fights as well. Nova Flame is a damage source that only like 2 or 3 champs are immune to, so she can go take a lot of different things. I have not used her a lot on BG's attack, so I wouldn't really know how good she is there, but for War, I really liked her on attack.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix is it kind of annoys me because you are actively incentivized to put her on defense, so not using her on attack is like actively better for you in a BG sense. But in War, I used her in, I think it was 2 wars of the season when well Cosmic was attack tactic. I can't remember the name, but she's just incredibly tanky, you know. Max Sig, that safeguard's really nice. You have the immortality at the end if you somehow get to 1%. Just again, like Grass said, Nova Flame's really nice. Just a very well-rounded attacker, which we don't see enough of because she's already a crazy defender.
You know, and Kyle's just saying something in chat that I know he didn't get this from me. It's just I think it's really smart, so I'm going to say it. Something I've been saying for quite a while now on my channel is if you get a defender and you're interested in battlegrounds, I think you're like they will never be stronger than they are the moment they came into the game, because people are going to learn to fight them and counters will come out. Like very rarely does a defense. I know there's a few that like rise back up again. Like Penny Parker kind of rose back up again, but I think she's about to get like literally slammed back down to the floor in battlegrounds. But is Dark Phoenix is quote unquote like falling off? She's still a good defender. It's just counters have come out. Like I like to make fun of it. Like literally the month after she came into the game, the counter came out, right? Do you guys feel that? Well, no, you guys are both on the Illuminati. I was going to ask you guys. Well, let's go do it. Where would you guys rate her as a defender on a scale of 10? Like, would you still put her as a 9, a 10? Like, where would you have her on that list? Purely as a defender.
I still think purely defensive value, she's still a 10. I've like she is the. I mean, it's the exact same as Serpent, where if you do not have a counter, you are dead. There is no skill around it. There is no real way around it. You either have a counter, and sure, people are discovering more counters, but if you do not have a counter, you are just straight up dead, or at least losing most of your health.
I agree with that pretty much. She's basically Serpent released a year later. And there are just probably like 5 defenders in the game. They're just like, haha, I'm killing you if you don't have any option, and she's absolutely one of them. So I think she's even a stronger defender than Serpent is right now. But who knows how long that'll stand. For now, I still think it's a 10.
All right. And Peter won that pretty solidly. I do think there's something to having had him a little bit, you know, like we have experience, you guys have experience with a lot of these champions. I don't even have them yet. Do either of you have them in game yet?
No, I said earlier, I think it's like if you got the track, you get him in a couple days from now. So almost. I'll have him in like 2 days.
Yeah, I actually haven't bought the track because I still mine near the end, but as of current, I have not bought the track because I did a bit of messing around with him, and I'm heavily against defenders with the like the traps on the map, but that's like more of a personal gripe.
Yeah. And hey, Cant0na, real quick, man, if you don't mind, have you ever like what's your highest finish in Battlegrounds in Battlegrounds season?
First last season.
First, so you won the whole
Yeah,
season.
it finally came up.
You won the whole season. Oh, okay. And then have you ever done well in war?
Yeah, Salty has War Champ, I think, 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Might be no, it's 3. It's 3.
So you've won the war season and the battleground season, and
Yes.
and Grass, has your alliance ever finished in Masters for war?
Yeah, we've been top 20 pretty consistently with 1 top 10 finish.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You guys are really good at the game. That's awesome. Sounds like you know what you're talking about. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the number 10 spot. Who are you going to suggest for that? Let's start with Grass.
I'm still sticking with Dark Phoenix. I think she's the last one aside from Maker in the S tier that I made. So
cool.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I'm gonna agree with Dark Phoenix. I was finding the interesting there's only a couple more in the S tier because I can look at like 3 or 4 I still really like.
And then let's go ahead and move on to the 11th. Cant0na, just keep us going. Who would you suggest for the 11th spot?
So Pavitra and Dark Phoenix is gone, yes. So she's gained a lot of prevalence on attack recently. I think people have realized, again, she's not just a defender. I think Yelena is very nice on attack and still has that defensive value. So yeah, Yelena for me.
And what do you think, Grass?
I'll go with Maker just simply because he's the last champ that I had in my S tier. Yelena's probably gonna win, but I'll go ahead and say Maker anyway.
All right, and I am picking up the pace a little bit. I like to take our time, and but as these guys know, I do have a hard stop. I have something I unfortunately need to get to, so we're going to pick up the pace just slightly. I've put up the poll for the 11th spot. You know what's interesting is like, are you guys using Yelena much on attack? Like, does she have matchups in battlegrounds? Grass, you've used her in war, I believe, right? So let's go ahead and start it off
Yes.
with Grass for like uses for Yelena on attack.
Yeah, it's primarily war for me. There are probably a lot of people who try to use her on attack in BGs. I've never really gotten a huge amount of success for on attack in BGs, but in war, I liked taking her to a bunch of different science defenders that were tactic defense, like iBomb and Cant0na and a couple other ones. High Evo, I think I took with her a couple times, but she's pretty good champ for war, especially with the poison immunity, because there's not a lot of skill champs with poison immunity or damage over time immunity in general. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff she can do. She's pretty simple champ to use, so.
Yeah. I wasn't personally using her in war. I had other champs I was being assigned a lot, like Shang-Chi, but because I plan for FAE, I was sending multiple Yulain as a war usually. Crazy block proficiency is really nice. Poison immunity, like Grass said, is a nice bit of utility. I think as well, to a BG's aspect, the ability to stop, miss, and evade when awakened, and you get to your elimination mode, I think that's really nice because of how quickly you can hit that elimination mode. Spider-Woman, Photon, the main two that come to mind with it, but it's just some nice utility where, especially when your opponent, there's a lot of situations in Battlegrounds where it's like, your opponent thinks, oh, I've got you trapped, and Yelena's the kind of champ that you just turn around and they're like, oh, didn't see that one coming.
Nice. All right, let's go ahead. Yelena crushed it. The Maker. I think the Maker is still struggling from the initial bad rep when he first came into the game. So I think it's going to take a little while for people to realize how good he is, or maybe everyone just loves Yelena. Grass, who would be your suggestion for number 12?
Yeah, I'll stick with Maker. When I was making my list, I put a lot of the like 5 out of 5 defenders pretty close to each other. So, I mean, it's either Maker or like I put High Evo and Zola right next to Yelena. So that might be what Cant0na says her, but we'll see.
Yeah, I will accept Maker, but if a poll is going to be done, my personal bias towards my favorite fridge is saying Zola. But Maker, it's like I said, they're all so close together. I wouldn't really mind which gets put here.
I've seen you pull off stuff with Zola so much in war. I've actually started almost calling him the fridge many times. And I'm like, I don't think people will know what I like. I think we need to make that catch on. I really like that nickname. So let's go ahead and do a poll.
Yeah.
I think Zola has fans. I think ironically, like, and this is just kind of like the YouTube community, the YouTube MCoC community, is Maker landed, I think the reputation was way worse than he actually was, like way worse. He's very good, and I think it was just he's gonna suck everywhere. There's no uses, and I think Zola, for whatever reason, came out the other way. I felt like the hype on his attacking, let's say, was probably a little too high. And so I think like this is one of those ones where in a year, if we did this poll again, they're going to be much more balanced out. Was it like what's the term, like revert to the mean, sort of thing? I know it's not really the mean, but you guys get my point.
Yeah, it's
I
interesting
think
because oh, go ahead.
I'll wait because I have a spiel of why I'm angry at Kabam.
Oh, it's interesting to me because like out of all the 5 out of 5 defenders released this year, I think Zola has fallen off defensively the most,
Yeah.
which partially is due because he was the first one we got this year. But that being said, like there have been recently a lot more people using him on attack, especially in war, and I used him on a decent bit on attack when he first came out, but I haven't really touched him too much recently. But I know there's a lot of people who do like him, so I feel like he's getting a lot more attention on attack than defensively recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, my spiel was just going to be, I hate that they've brutalized him on defense with the champs
Yeah.
they've released.
Me too.
I just cannot justify putting him higher than I have done because of that.
This poll's pretty close, but I think Zola, I'm going to just call it for the sake of us moving. It's 55 to 45. I think that's pretty clear. Zola is taking it. Cant0na, who would be your number 13?
Oof. No, I'll go Maker. There was one champ I was debating, but Maker I think has shown a bit more.
Grass, are we just going Maker on this one?
Yeah, put Maker down.
Okay. And then that moves us to the 14th spot. Out of curiosity, I want to ask both of you, and Cant0na, you go first. Do you feel like we've kind of clearly just like that we've reached a tier? We maybe even reached a tier a little while ago, but do you feel like we've maybe hit a tier in power now? Or do you think there's maybe one or two left?
There's one champ that I would like to put into this quote unquote tier, but I also see why people will put her in the one below.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna blame it. It's Cassandra. I think that I think Liam said it earlier in chat. Cassandra released in pretty much any other year would be an incredibly good champion. Just a shame that she released in the year of Jean Grey, who is probably the best mutant now.
And Grass, who is your suggestion?
Just back to the tier break thing. I would have tier broken right after Dark Phoenix, but now makes sense to do so as well. And there is only one champ that I put above Cassandra that we haven't gotten to yet, and that's High Evolutionary, which is going to be my pick. And the reason I'm picking High Evo is because I think he is the most underrated defender in BGs right now. If you get rid of Okoye and Lumitrix, if they don't have access to Okoye or Lumitrix, you are winning almost every round you place them on defense.
Yeah, I can't argue that. On my my alt account, I have High Evo at rank 4, and especially moving up some of the lower tiers, he is pretty much an instant win condition. It's not even if the person gets nuked by High Evo, just even without Okoye or Lumitrix, he's pretty slow to fight.
Mhm.
And as well,
Yeah.
they announced in the patch notes that he's technically bugged at the moment. After you do usually a special one, but it counts for any special. After he throws his SB1, you was allowed to hit him with and ignore his, mixed master counter.
So Cant0na's cutting out there a minute. I assume he is for everybody. I think what he's saying, wasn't aware of this in the patch notes, is when High Evolutionary Special,
apparently that is being
when he throws his special one, you could actually punish it with a medium or a light, and it wouldn't count towards the combo alternating, right? Is that sound correct, Grass?
Yeah, that's basically it. Like the hit that you would use to punish his special wasn't counting towards the auto block meter.
Yeah. It looks like, again, it's close, but there's enough votes that Cassandra is going to win this. And when you made the comment earlier about the Lizard and Scorpion, my first thought was actually Cassandra and Jean Grey, because they were pretty close together too, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't know the exact amount, but it's just one of those. Cassandra, I mean, at the Brawl, we saw a couple of Cassandra uses, and that was because of the Omega pools. Some people didn't want to pick Jean and saw Cassandra as a very close alternative, which just is true. But we're at a point in the game where Cassandra is worse than Jean, so people will not pick Cassandra, which is kind of sad, but I get it. They want so much utility now.
Yeah, as like doing a tier list, I get why Jean is higher on the tier list than Cassandra. But like one of the biggest things that we're trying to do on the tier list is like, no, Cassandra's really good. And they are different. They aren't They aren't the same. It isn't exactly the same, but I understand that they're often used for similar matchups and all of that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the number 15 option. We'll go ahead and start with grass.
It's got to be high Evo for me at this point.
Okay.
I agree.
Oh, okay.
Evo should be in there.
All right. So we'll just put high Evo in. I think it's always tough to gauge in tier list defenders, you know? You guys know like everything we go through every month on the tier list. Unless it's a BG's tier list, then it's easy. But a general tier list, I do think it is quite difficult to try to be like, this is exactly where they are. You don't know how much people value Battlegrounds. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 16th rated champion.
I think
Yeah.
Go.
I don't know if we want to include her because she literally dropped like today. But if we are including her, then I'm gonna put an asterisk next to her, but put Imperiosa in. But if we're excluding her, then that's fine. I will pick someone else.
No, I think that's fine. I think she's tagged 2025.
Yeah, I'll probably go with her. I think she will land fine. Probably could go up, when people discover best rotations and stuff. I don't like some parts of her kit, but I think overall she's an okay champion.
Grass, do you have someone, or are you like, no, Imperiosa makes sense? I know you put out a
There are
great
two
video today.
champs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there are two champs that I prefer over her after testing her a lot last night. So my pick's gonna be Mr. Knight. I think he is very, very strong at just completely turning off the two biggest science defenders right now. I want to try him for high Evo because I think he'll be pretty good for that, but he's just an absolute menace against the science class right now. He's not going to be the fastest, but he is the best at turning kits off in the science class, with obviously a few exclusions, but the two big ones he's got.
And so we'll go ahead and do the poll, Imperiosa versus Mr. Knight. This is tough. Like, they're both just so new in the game. Man, I might not have tested Mr. Knight versus High Evolutionary. High Evolutionary came up first, right? So there's a chance I did test it, but I don't think I tested on the CCP map. I don't think High Evo was on the map at that time. Is he on the map now, Grass?
The CCP test map, he's still not on there
He's
yet.
still not. Okay, so I couldn't have. So it was probably like a dual scenario. I remember thinking it was good. The thing with Mr. Knight too was, doesn't he have it in his, I think, signature ability? Does he start with like 2 injuries or something like that? There's something that like could significantly speed up his ramp in Battlegrounds.
Yeah. In BG specifically, he starts with 2 injuries, which can make it a lot faster for getting Tranquilize up and Panic too.
Yeah, so I actually have opened, I think, 1 Titan. I said I was going to Horde. And I still think in my scenario, it's smarter to Horde for the next Titan. But that's an efficiency play, and I really want Mr. Knight. I just found him so fun to play. And I think we're at the place now with these new champions, like when we start talking about like Lizard and Mr. Knight, where if Kabam introduces 1 or 2 defenders that they're ideal for, their value skyrockets. Like, would you guys agree with that? We'll start with Grass and then Cant0na.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I'm still waiting for them to release that new Cosmic Defender that Dracula's can be ridiculous for, and not a lot of other mystics. But that is generally the case with a lot of defenders. I mean, even look at like Jean Grey after Yelena came out.
Yeah. There's quite a few champions going through the history where they only become good quite a few months after. I know Penny on attack as well as defense has had a resurgence.
Yeah.
Because of not even because of new champions released, but like champs released as a 7-star, like when Sinister came back and stuff like that.
Yeah. At my tier, so I'm more in the low Mysterium or Quantum tier frequently. I've been able to use Penny quite a bit. Draft her early. I do think Hulkling may change this considerably because there's just going to be 1 more champion that's going to be in a lot of decks. But she was someone she's been someone I could draft confidently the last 3 or 4, 2 or 3 seasons probably. And if someone pulled, Gallon, let's say, I could just swap her on because there was just a variety of champions she would be good for. I have a feeling that's about to change, though. Not that she won't be good for those champions. It's just I don't know how deck worthy she's going to be for me, someone who has a variety of options. Yeah, I'm really excited about Mr. Knight. It looks like Imperios is going to take this, though. Yeah, the polls is starting to pull away towards Imperiosa. I do apologize, guys. I probably have time for like 2 more. I think it was important that we did the first ones, though. So I think this was very worthy regardless. So we'll get Imperiosa in, and then Cant0na, if you could tell us your number 17.
Do I go Mr. Knight is the question.
I
I think I will.
I know Seaton's on it, but I truly want to pull Mr. Knight because I think he's way better than people realize, and I think it'd be fun to
Yeah,
show that.
I think I will go Mr. Knight. I don't personally like him, but I see the abilities that he has. You know, I'm not gonna say he's bad because I don't like him.
And Grass, do you have you want Mr. Knight here on this one, or you?
Yeah, definitely Mr. Knight still.
Stink. What's up, Stinks? Thanks for being here, bud. And I'm sorry for everyone. I know I normally interact with the chat quite a bit on these more podcast style. It's just we're here with the guests. I am reading the chat though quite a bit. And that's why I asked Cant0na. I know Cant0na won Battlegrounds. I saw a couple of being like, does he really not know what alliance they're in and like how good they are? I was like, no, I forget it. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the number 18, Cant0na. Who would be your number 18?
Okay. I think he's kind of shown that he's kind of an annoying defender. I think Gentle is a good shout for 18. On attack suffers from being even less than Cassandra, who is less than Jean Grey, so he's just doubly dead. But on defense, that 15 hit unstoppable, like even if you don't get hit by it, that slows a lot of champs down a lot, and can even mess with rotations that have like time limits on them.
There's a lot of pressure on you, Grass. I know there's a lot of people wanting you to say you forgot Gentle and he should actually be a lot higher. But at a minimum, you got to say Gentle here. But I'd like to hear what you have to say.
This is where I have Lizard. This is where I have the Lizard. Sorry, chat. This is Lizard.
Dude, you put out the so this will be our final poll for this one, guys. I apologize. This was a lot of fun, and I hope to have both these guys on for more of these as we move forward, especially into 2026. Grass, what I want to ask you about though is, because I know I cut you off there, is you put out it wasn't a short, it was a video of Lizard just absolutely decimating someone in Battlegrounds. I don't even remember which champion it was. How are you enjoying that?
Just being Gray.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Tell us about Lizard, please.
Yeah, he's a very simple champ in my opinion. I wouldn't say like generic nuke. He's got targets in the Mystic class, but overall I think he's just gonna be like a BG's attacker that just takes a lot of different stuff. And the whole thing with him is you're going to be doing a generic special 1 into special 2 rotation. But you want to weave in heavy attacks to get these ruptures you're placing pause, because the ruptures are basically your currency. You get the opponent to drop special attacks with the ruptures on them and they take power sting damage. That's why he's getting very much so compared to Scorpion, like we mentioned earlier with Cant0na and Ascension and everything. So, but I like him a lot. He takes Nico better than any champ in the game right now. If you struggle with Nico, he's pretty good for Enchantress, and he's gonna be one of those champs I think is gonna get better as another Mystic Defender gets added.
Can you remind me, was your Lizard awakened at all?
Yes, he was.
Okay. I don't want to spoil a video either. Are these trade secrets or is this for a video upcoming? I don't want to spoil that.
No, like I had my Lizard at Sig 1. It's nothing to really be
really so
about.
I thought obviously he's a champion I haven't been able to test, right? I think a lot of us are aware of these things. I would have thought that the getting those personal retributions up to 25% would have been huge for him. Do you anticipate that being a big damage increase, or not so much?
It will. It'll be a pretty good damage increase. It's not like a flat 25%. So like if each retribution is 20%, then you add 25% of that 20% and you
Yeah.
get 25. So it's not like as big a difference as it reads because they don't use the word flat, but
Yeah.
it means they're taking more sting damage, which also makes your special 2 do more damage because your special 2 burst is based off of how much sting they took. So
All right.
it's something where yeah, his damage is just gonna get slightly better the more sigs you give him, but even at low sig, you're gonna be fine.
Okay. That's impressive, and thank you for reminding about the whole flat thing. I got really keyed in on any sort of ability, but particularly signature abilities when they started talking about increasing the potency or duration from Nimrod. Nimrod's got that, but his is like double. It's like increased potency and duration. So I think that's part of why his sig is so great. I do need to get going. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys getting what I was doing, jokes and all of that. Everyone, please go subscribe to both of these guys. Like, I'm sure you probably already are, but in case you're not, you get to hear the kind of knowledge they have and the way they look at this game, right? Like they're both aware of the meta, the general meta. Like, you know, if you're shooting for C1 or Celestial, like Grass has been in 2 as well. But they're also aware that like there's a variety of ways to play this game, and you don't always have to rank the meta champion to have a great time. They're both very willing to talk about and show you the ways you can use a variety of. I mean, look at we're on Lizard and Gentle and Mr. Knight and Imperiosa, like, and they're still talking about how great these champions are and what you can do with them. I gotta go. So I'll just turn it over to these 2 guys, Cant0na and then Grass, if you guys can say your salutations and take us out. We'll go Cant0na first and then Grass to
I was going to say it was a
Yeah.
standoff of who's
Yeah.
going to go first.
Sorry. My bad.
Yeah, but yeah, again, thanks for having me on. Hopefully nobody hates me too much based on some of these decisions, especially Pavita. But yeah, thanks for everyone for at least listening.
Yeah, appreciate you all being here, listening to my hot takes, which got voted down in the polls. But it was still fun, and yeah, I'll be doing the list myself later on this month. So
Make sure you keep an eye out for that. And you got that right. Ignore the list and just go with the hate.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, but do it in a fun, playful way. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. This is a blast. I'll be back with videos tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to these guys. We got you entertained all December. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.